Well, hello my little beauties, greetings from sunny Scotland. It's David Connolly here, the web developer extraordinaire, and today I'm going to explain why Java developers are all rude bastards. Let me take you back a few days to my last video and show you folks an example of the kind of thing that I'm talking about here. If we go through the comments, everybody's generally cool, by the way. I mean, there's 3 thumbs down and 56 thumbs up. Okay, I appreciate that. And everybody is pretty much cool. But then a guy appears here. You can see his name. And he says, PHP is bad for a number of reasons. It's not only because of Laravel and Symfony. It's not strongly typed. Not strongly typed, folks. It's inefficient, it's way too stingy, and while yes, it may be a good language for someone to start out in web development, for advanced software engineers, PHP is just a goddamn nightmare. Forget TDD, test-driven development, forget everything else. PHP is just a bad language for building large-scale applications or Okay, now let me just skip forward here, because that was kind of starting to get boring. But the person actually continued. Have a look at this. I'd come back and basically told him very gracefully that I had an alternative opinion. And he came back and if you look through the comment, you'll see but you are advanced enough to know that a dynamically typed language can't really be considered up to par when it comes time to think about scalability. I did work with PHP, blah, blah, blah. You can't really implement solid as easily, blah, 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 blah. You can't test as easily. And I know you've been harping on about this, but you spend most of your time editing strings. I spend most of my time editing strings. Folks, I don't even know what that means. Does anybody know what that means? You know, I was going to come on and crack a joke and say, well, actually, I spend most of my time watching 70s porn, but why bother with the joke? I really don't know what on earth he's talking about. Editing strings? You know, in my video, The Rise and Fall of PHP, I very rightly made the observation that since PHP appeared on the scene, developers from other, let's say, more proper, if ever there was a need to do that, then this is it. More proper languages have been coming on and firing out these outrageously rude attacks. And it's very rude, let's be honest about that. We were not having a debate about PHP versus blankety blank. It's mostly PHP developers who watch the videos, I think. And to go in and say, well, that's a beginner's language, or it's something that's okay for people starting out, is so arrogant, so rude. It really is quite outrageous. And the question that we have to ask as PHP developers is, how do we respond to this? Well, the first rule is, don't engage. I know that you're very tempted to look up some of those things. What does strongly typed mean? What does solid, what does that mean? And does PHP do that? And oh, maybe we can retort, and maybe we can talk about some features PHP has, or we can talk about how PHP is more popular or something like that. Folks, no, we need to not engage with that kind of bullshit. Over the years, you know, I've been seeing this type of thing going on since 2004 when I started using PHP. And over the years, by the way, the list of little things that PHP fails at has changed, right? At first it was, oh, PHP's rubbish, it's not real, it doesn't do OOP. This was going on for ages. Of course, PHP at 2006 got OOP. Do you think all of the naysayers said, oh well, good luck guys, good luck, it's all fine now? No. That never happened at all. What happened is they moved on to the next thing. Oh, it doesn't do namespaces, or it doesn't do, you know, what else have we got? Doesn't do decorators, or what would be the other thing? Interfaces. Oh, it's, you know, types and all of this crap, right? And it changes through the years. But, you know, the spec list, and it's funny because as PHP ticks more and more of the boxes, they never change. They just find some other features and they come back and go, yeah, it doesn't do this, it's for beginners. And it is relentless. I was trying to hire a Java developer last year. I needed him for a little thing that I needed some Java for, or I felt that I needed Java for. And he gave me exactly the same shit. This is a guy that I was actually going to be paying. And out of the blue, when he heard that I was using PHP, it was just a rant. I can't believe you're using that. It's for beginners. Oh, you're a novice. Blah, 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 blah. Folks, this is outrageous. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, don't engage with that bullshit. Let me explain what's going on. Now, this is as much of a technical conversation that you're going to get from me. And it's really just a sentence. As far as dealing with all of that stuff goes, here comes the technical retort. There is nothing that you can do with C# or Java or .NET, whatever the hell they're calling it, or Python or Ruby on Rails or anything like that, that you cannot do with PHP and or JavaScript. Maybe in the form of Node.js or Electron or something. Now, that may not be the case if we're talking desktop apps, but I'm talking about web applications. I'll say it again. There is nothing. Are you paying attention, by the way, Java assholes? There is nothing, and ASP people and all of that, and Python people, there is nothing that you guys can do that cannot be done with a PHP and or JavaScript combo. With the disclaimer that JavaScript may come in a slightly different form, such as Node.js or something like that. Okay, now let that sink in. That is your technical retort. That's all you're going to get. Now, whenever you see somebody from a C# background or Java or something like that posting that kind of rant, that kind of attack, behaving in such an outrageously arrogant manner, I guarantee what's going on there is you have somebody who has gone through the traditional education system, and that person has wasted 4, maybe 5 years of their life studying computing, studying a thing that's going to make them, you know, this really great computing character, and they're going to earn fortunes and build the next Facebook or something, who knows. And what has happened is, over those years, they have acquired tons and tons of debt, right? That's how university works these days, right? So they've acquired tons and tons of debt, they've wasted 4 or 5 years of their lives, and then when they come out into the marketplace, they discover that there's people like me, a pizza delivery guy, scoring better gigs than they are, earning more than they are. You know, the day when that one came in, I had made about equivalent of, I don't have the payment yet, fair disclaimer, but remember the restaurant I was talking about a couple of days before? They went ahead, you know? So that's going to translate to, I don't know the conversion, $6,000 or $7,000 or something. I've got another 6,000 or 7,000 due next week, hopefully, when I launch a site. I mean, I'm scoring here. I'm doing all right, you know? And when I'm working, I'm not hanging about some henhouse office. I'm in here listening to Pink Floyd and Simon and Garfunkel and stuff like that, and I'm having a good time. And when those other developers who come from the traditional academic backgrounds come and they see people like me kicking ass, like doing well and scoring great gigs, and they're not, let me tell you the obvious, folks, they are so jealous. And that's what this is all about, folks. It has nothing to do with a technical checklist. It's all just jealousy. They are furious because they think that they should be the ones who have the right to be called professionals. They think that if they go around saying, PHP is just for beginners, and that if they ridicule us, that they can somehow change the the landscape, and maybe PHP will go away. Maybe guys like me are just going to go away. Me and maybe a couple of 100,000 Indian developers. Well, guess what? It ain't going to happen. We're not going to engage with your bullshit. And by the way, do you want to have a conversation about Solid? Okay, let's talk about Solid. Now, the Solid that you are referring to, with capitalized letters here, is the thing that was, it's an acronym for the 5 object-oriented design principles by Robert C. Martin, popularly known as Uncle Bob. Okay, it's bullshit. I've already mentioned Uncle Bob a few times. Uncle Bob has never built a commercial web app in his life. He earns vast fortunes by using playground bully tactics to tell web developers that they're not professional unless they do things his way.
It has become infeasible in light of what's happened over the last 6 years for a software developer to consider himself professional if he does not practice test-driven development.
Well, guess what? The web developer extraordinaire has already called him out. It's all bullshit. So see your version of Solid? I think it's bullshit. I'm not even going to read it because I don't read and humour stuff that gets written by characters who are running money-making scams. Okay? That's the vibe, and that's the end of your analysis. However, the web developer extraordinaire has his own idea of Solid. Yes, it is true. The web developer extraordinaire has his definition of what Solid means when it comes to web development. Let me show you what that looks like. Here is a web app that's closed to the general public, and I have to close some URLs or blank things out. I hope nobody does anything uncool. And on this app, you'll see a picture of a really old Nokia phone. These things are like antiques these days. Now, this app is tracking vehicles from factory, literally from the conveyor belt, to the customer's doorstep. So when a car comes off of the production line in the factory, text messages are sent and emails and so on, and various messages go back and forward with this application, and it tracks the whereabout of the vehicle. And the last time I checked this, it had 500,000 vehicles on it. That's 500,000 new vehicles being tracked. This app is being used by Ford, Vauxhall, Volkswagen, Volvo, Nissan, Toyota, actually every major car manufacturer. And it's being used Europe-wide now, okay, because a lot of the factories are in Europe. The reason why this app has an old, ridiculous-looking Nokia is because I made this app in 2004. I made this app before there were any PHP frameworks or anything, and I made it just using pure PHP. And do you know what, folks? Since 2004, I have not had one single technical support request for this app. There have been no faults, no rewrites required, no obsolescence, no glitches, no change of server. This is solid. That's why it's got an old Nokia on it. And when I launched that, the Nokia was as hip as you could get. But just look at it, and there it is, and it's still up all these years later. That is solid, ladies and gentlemen. This app is being used by companies who are listed on the Dow Jones every day, and it has been working for 14 years. And please don't think that I'm living off of past glories here. Last year, I finished a PHP app with over 1 million lines of code. I actually gave a demo of it, a video demo in the Insider Club. And since November last year when that was finished, do you know how many faults there have been? None. Do you know how many upgrade requests there's been? None. The thing is absolutely rock solid. So don't tell me that PHP cannot scale, and don't come to me with your solid principles and all of that horse shit. You see, when you go around bad-mouthing an entire web development community, the biggest on earth actually, the PHP community, and you go around saying things like it's good for beginners but it doesn't scale. The trouble is, eventually you run into a guy like me who proves everything you're saying wrong with every breath that I take, and I'm not going to humour your bullshit. Your little list doesn't impress me. Solid, test-driven development, DevOps, Agile, it's all bullshit. And on this channel, we are calling out the bullshit. Now, to the PHP developers, my message is very simple. Don't engage in those types of conversations. When you see that stuff being written, just say to them, look, I don't share your opinions, and I'm very sorry that your technology is not that popular. I actually called the last guy out because I said right away, in fact, let me show you. I said, here's the vibe. You wasted years and acquired massive debt learning technologies that nobody gives a rat's ass about. Deal with it. Posting sound bites about PHP that you've probably picked up from some crappy blog won't help. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to focus on what I'm saying. You wasted years and acquired massive debt, okay? Because I know the story. We all know what's going on. This has nothing to do with technology and everything to do with the fact that they've wasted 4 or 5 years of their life in uni learning technologies that people generally aren't interested in and acquiring massive debt. And to this person's credit, he actually came clean and he says, I said, how much debt, did you acquire? And there you go. 27,000. Now, I don't know the conversion, but that's not too far off of $40,000. Ladies and gentlemen, if you went to uni for 4 or 5 years, acquired around about $40,000 in debt or whatever the conversion is, you would feel the same. You would be nicking about like that as well. In the case of this particular guy, he even drops the F-bomb in his own profile name on YouTube. Now, I know that I swear like a drunken sailor from time to time, but I don't go having the F-bomb in my actual name. In fact, I don't say the F-bomb generally, So this is what happens. This is the real story. This has nothing to do with this list of technical tidbits that are coming our way, this thing that's been going on for the last 15 years. It has everything to do with the fact that this guy and others like him have wasted years learning stuff that is basically being ignored by the marketplace and acquiring massive debt. They cannot handle the fact that guys like me are out there kicking ass. That's what's happening. Thank you very much. That was going to be the end of the video. But I think I'd like to leave with a message from me to the C# Java guy, the guy with whom I was having this discussion. I want to tell you that I don't think that you are fundamentally a bad person. I think that you have been betrayed by an antiquated educational system, a system that has failed many of us, including me. And I think that, whilst some people may be impressed when they see, well, how did you know that he'd gone through uni and acquired debt? It's only because I've been round the block so much. I've seen this all before. The truth is, I could have gone on. I knew, for example, you've never ran your own web development agency. You've probably never even thought of it. You've never released your own software. You've never done a seminar. You've never done any of the stuff that you are so capable of doing. Now, how do I know that? I know that because the energy that you're dishing out is negative. Look, love me, hate me, I don't give a shit. But when you walk into a room with a prospect carrying that energy around, they will feel that. That's why you're going to be going into a crappy office next Tuesday morning, and I'm not. I'm going to be here. So here's what's going to happen. You and I are going to become real good friends. That's right. Instead of being enemies, this guy is going to become your sensei. You're going to subscribe to this channel, and then I want you to join the Insider Club. Even though the website's like a dog's dinner, I haven't had time to do it. I want you to join the Insider Club and contact me. I'm going to personally help you to get rid of that negative energy, because until you get rid of that, You will always be a slave. That's a fact. Why don't you make a change today? Why not change that negative name that you've given yourself? Why not change that? One small change could be the beginning of something amazing. Go ahead. Let's do this. And let's really have a conversation.